Waudby, and my Time Tunnellers video today comes from the Museum of London Docklands at West India Dock. I grew up in a seaport, Hong Kong, on an island, so travelling by boat was something that I did on a weekly basis. And I'm still fascinated by rivers and the sea, ships and boats. In fact, my first sight of England was from a big ship coming up the Thames estuary. I love standing by the Thames and smelling the sea and feeling that sense of connection to the whole world that it gives me. But at the West India Docks, the river holds a terrible history. The museum is housed in the sugar warehouse, which was built in 1802 to store sugar and rum from the West Indies, from the plantations where enslaved Africans worked. I decided to focus on the building itself, and in particular the London Sugar and Slavery Gallery on the third floor. This warehouse is only here because by the end of the 18th century the system of slavery had become so profitable. The gallery opens with a huge list of transatlantic slave ships which were cleared by the Port of London in the 1780s and 1790s, and it lists the names of the ships, their owners and captains, the African ports where enslaved Africans embarked, the number of enslaved Africans and their destination in the Caribbean. It's powerful and horrifying to look at this long list of ships and to understand that each one represents hundreds of stolen African lives. The transatlantic slave trade is sometimes known as the triangular trade. Ships sailed from London to West Africa with a cargo of manufactured goods which were exchanged for human beings. The Middle Passage was the journey to the Americas and the Caribbean, in which so many African men, women and children died. Finally, the ships returned to London with sugar, molasses and rum and other goods grown by the labour of enslaved people. The museum presents some stark facts. London was the fourth biggest slave port in the world, behind the Brazilian ports of Rio de Janeiro and Bahia and Liverpool. Over 3,100 ships left London to carry almost 1 million Africans into slavery. By the 1790s, a quarter of Britain's income came from imports from the West Indies, and in 1781 sugar trade profits for that year came to £1,405,102, which today would be £126 million. This trade created the wealth of London and Britain. Writers like Ignatius Sancho wrote powerful first-hand accounts about slavery, and it was their writing that informed and eventually led to the abolition of slavery. The gallery also covers this, as well as resistance in the Caribbean. In the shop you can buy books by contemporary freed African writers. I'd like to go back to this museum because there's so much that I didn't see. It also shows how the docks worked in the 20th century, the lives of riverside Londoners, Docklands at war, and Sailor Town, a recreated labyrinth of alleys and shops, and much more. This museum, housed in an original building which was so central to the slave trade, gives us a stark look at how the slave trade ran through the heart of London like the river itself. When I was at school, we didn't learn about slavery, only about the abolition. We didn't learn about Britain's role. And I think that this museum is fulfilling an important role in shining a light into London's history. So for a writing challenge, the sugar warehouse where the Museum of London Docklands is housed now was only built because people's freedom was stolen from them. Freedom is a human right that everybody should have. Can you write an acrostic poem for the word freedom? Or if you prefer, you can write the word with a beautifully illustrated first letter. Long ago, when books had to be written by hand, scribes would take the first letter and illuminate it in beautiful colours to enhance the importance of the word that they were writing. So if you want to, you could do that. Thank you.